10 days back, I turned 35. The first 25 years of my life would have been a dream of a typical Indian student. Or maybe it would have been the dream of a typical Indian parent for their children. I graduated as a gold medalist in civil engineering. I was a 9-pointer at IIT. And then I went on and landed in a corporate job, earning good money, seeing lots of places. But then, this was me at the age of 25. I was borderline obese, no purpose in life, selling technology that had no meaning in the Indian context at exorbitant prices. So I wasn't happy. And that for me was a non-negotiable. So I keep telling people, whenever you hit a roadblock, you either have to change your goal or your direction. And I often choose to stick to my goal and change my approach. So at that point, I said, okay, let me restart post 25. But this time, I accepted nature as my teacher. So I started very basic kindergarten. I started as a small urban farmer on a 4 feet by 4 feet garden on my terrace. So I was growing stuff like palak, mint, basil, very basic stuff, right? And then slowly things progressed. I started growing more and more stuff. It emerged into a full-fledged terrace garden. What I was trying to sort through this garden was the basic laws of nature. For example, there's no waste in nature. Everything gets recycled. So what I did was, every time there was waste from my kitchen, I used to put it in these bags. If you see at the bottom, there is waste. And one day, the waste also had tomatoes. And the tomatoes got self-seeded. They grew into plants. They fruited. And I actually harvested them. Then the birds came to peck them, which proves that they were organic, because the birds really know what is good for them. So like this, I converted waste into food. The land I come from, Andhra, we are given these pots during our wedding ceremonies. So I planted chili in it, thinking that it will be symbolic of marriage. My wife wasn't very happy. So I kept trying different things. I started using Tetra Paks, slit them, put soil, sow whatever I could. And then the next thing was, I wanted to reuse the rainwater. Chennai had this whole problem of water, right? So whatever little water was falling on my terrace, I wanted to reuse it. So I just cut my rainwater pipe, installed 3 drums. Every time it rained, my terrace collected 600 liters of water, and the same water used to be used for gardening. So I solved waste, then I solved water. Then I said, can I coexist? So I brought a couple of chicken. Every time the crop was over in the basket, I used to put the chicken there. They used to eat all the weeds and then fertilize the box. So ready for the next planting. Such a symbiotic relation. So while I was doing all this, I realized that the atmosphere of my terrace changed. Birds started coming back. They were laying eggs. And I could actually see life unfold in front of me. Then I felt, okay, sounds good. Now let me go to the next level, schooling. So with the help of a very generous friend who supported me with my first farm, she actually supported the farm, I became a farmer. And the whole point of this farm was to have biodiversity. I was growing 18 varieties of mangoes on this farm. Then we went on to experiment different stuff, tomatoes, bindi, chilies, corn, 7 varieties of beans. I just believed that there is no uniformity in nature. It's all about biodiversity. None of us are alike, right? So I kept moving, started growing different fruits, millets. And at the end of my, not end, I would say, in my farming career, this is the kind of biodiversity I was dealing with. This went on to become a full-time business vertical. I dealt with almost, not almost, I'd say with a lot of top Indian business houses managing their health through growing their food. Then I said, all this is happening, that's fine, but I realized a very finer aspect of this whole process, that I was actually cultivating myself while I was cultivating the land. Because this journey of farming gave me some really good lessons. That's what I call as the University of Life. So this was me designing a garden for a tribal hamlet. And the lesson is opportunity. So there used to be incessant rain. So what we did here was we actually created contour trenches, we captured that rain, and we planted papaya trees. So opportunity most often comes to you as a problem. But if you can use it and convert it into something useful, you have the result. It's the same papaya trees. So life will throw problems at you, opportunities at you in the mask of problems. Always convert them into produce. The power of seed. In the same tribal community, the first thing I did when I was traveling from Hyderabad was I took a bunch of native seeds and I gave it to them. They sowed them, and a few months down the line, I received these pictures from them. They not only grew the produce, but they also made their own seed for their next round. So if you have the knowledge in place, it's forever. Nobody can take it away from you. You're self-sustaining. So we kept doing that. We kept saving seed and some really exotic stuff, purple pink potato, purple sweet potato. Then this is a very interesting story. It's about problem solving at SOP. So one day a client brings to me these tomatoes. If you see the price there, they're 2,500 rupees a kilo. So in life, sometimes you're always thrown with data which is overwhelming. You see this funny problem which is like, wow, what is this? But then solution often is very simple if you stick to your basics. So I told myself, boss, this is a tomato. It has a seed. I can save it. So what I did is I used a traditional method where you use ash to actually save seed. And we grew this tomato locally in India that was imported. We harvested the tomato. But then comes the standard operating procedure so that you don't have to struggle in the future. So I taught my daughter how to make the seed. So whenever you have a problem in front of you, make sure you stick to basics, no matter how overwhelming the information that is thrown at you is. Stick to the basics, keep your calm, solve the problem, and document it for further use. I learned about history and traditional knowledge. This story is closer to home from Chennai. This food was given to me by a farmer on one of the farms that I work. It's actually an insect. It's called easel in Tamil. There is this tribe in Jinji which actually harvests this insect only during a specific time of the year using specific herbs which attract the pest out of the burrows, and they actually make this delicious food out of it. They eat it. They've been eating it for generations. Look at the traditional knowledge. Not just this, they know what herbs to use if this food actually doesn't suit somebody. Now, where is this knowledge? Where is this knowledge going? Each indigenous community, tribe has so much of this knowledge. There's nobody to document them. This is the true history that we need to preserve. We need to look into this. This is the banana stem, which again is cooked very vividly in South India. But there is, again, traditional knowledge. The stamen has to be removed before it is cooked. A lot of traditional Tamil households do this. Who will document this knowledge? This is the knowledge that we need to preserve. Learning from other species. So that's a bird pecking at a mango at my farm. If you see, it has such respect to food. It's not touching the second mango till it gets finished with the first. There's no buffet in nature. We should respect our food. So much to learn from other species. And nature gives you signals. You always know when a fruit is ripe. Nature has its ways to tell this, if only we are patient enough and not to do early harvest and use ethylene to ripen our bananas. Look at the cues. Data analysis and inferences. Most often, when situations come to us, life is chaotic. But if you just arrange the data properly, it starts making sense. But just arranging the data is not enough. You need to have the right perspective. So no matter how much data you have in front of you, no matter how chaotic life looks, always arrange things. Keep your calm, arrange things, have the right perspective, and then you can always have victory. Will and determination. I was working on this site in a peak summer, and then there is this palm fruit, which a lot of us love, and nobody was willing to climb the tree. And we were doing rainwater harvesting work, so I got the JCB guy to actually push up a man. So this is the JCB, and then we finally ate it. If I had given up saying nobody climbs the tree in today's date, no fruit. So always have the will, and then there's a way. Coexistence. So this is a tree from my farm. If you see, the main tree is the mango tree. Within its shade, we have a sitafal. Then we have a passion fruit vine going above that. We have become so cautious about how we are dealing with other people. We just don't know coexistence. Each sibling wants a separate bedroom. Each brother wants a separate house. The beauty of coexistence. Can you be together? Can you be helpful? Can you help each other? So much to learn from nature. Inclusion and celebration. See, men being men, I always bothered about what to grow as food. Then I realized there are festivals. My wife would love some flowers, some betel nut leaves. Then we started growing them. Happy family. Be inclusive. Right? Curiosity. No matter how grown up I was, the most simple things that I enjoyed was to check if the carrot formed. Root vegetables. Right? It's very simple. I could go buy any number of carrots that I want. But to check if the carrot has formed from the seed that I sowed is of immense joy. And when the carrots do come out, it's beautiful. Relation with food. So a lot of people, I'm also a wellness coach, a lot of people come to me and say, do I eat this, do I eat that, this is the new superfood. So I say, if you're eating the right food, you don't have to count your calories. Because you can't overeat a good food. Can you ever overeat a banana chip fried in a cold-pressed coconut oil? Never. But think of potato chips fried in refined sunflower oil. No end. Good food, you don't have to count your calories. Similarly, good thought, indulge. Go to the limits. Anything good, no limits. Patience. This is a seed tray. Whenever we are starting seedlings, we have to sow seeds. Imagine putting each seed in each hole. Farming teaches you patience. Nature versus man. We always think of multivitamins. This is nature's multivitamin. Those eggs are from my farm. Look at the yolk. They're like beautiful golden yellow from free-range chicken. Purpose. Look at the log. It got cut by itself to make the snake god grow. So the purpose of the log was to provide support to the snake god. And the snake god gave the log an opportunity to fulfill its purpose. Can we do this to each other in life? If all of us have that as the purpose, wouldn't the world be a more beautiful place? Judgment. So this pomegranate, this is how it was looking. By the way, this is the person who supported me on the farm. So we went ahead and harvested it, and it was beautiful. A lot of time we judge people by appearance. The most sweetest of the fruit that we ate was not necessarily the most beautiful fruit. This applies to people too. Ownership. As a kid, I used to hate plantain, but when I actually grew it, I harvested it, and I also cooked it, and I ate it. So the rule is, if a kid grows Karela or bitter gourd, he will eat it too. So make them grow it. So that's my daughter. Finally, last 3-4 slides. Simplicity. No matter what buffets I can afford, the meals that I enjoy the most are the ones that we sit eating on the floor as a family in earthen pots, simple dal from the farm, ghee from the free-range cows. This is what we enjoy. And as a family, we realize what we like is wearing natural clothes made out of cotton, dyed out of natural plant materials. And my son doesn't like camera. And you remember the marriage pot? That broke one day. To my surprise, the roots held the soil. So no matter, even if the externalities crumble, if your value system is strong, you will go ahead in life. So my advice to you is, stick to your values. No matter what happens on the externalities, you will progress. So if there is a university which can teach all this, I'm willing to send my kids and enroll myself again, as learning is a lifelong journey.